Hello there, everyone, and welcome to my mountain of shame. Today we have Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Now, I, for one, have always loved a little bit of vampire, especially Vampire the Masquerade. Some of the other settings just aren't nearly as fun. But here's the thing. Of late, White Wolf has been incredibly generous with its IP address, and we have seen many games come out with this license. Obviously, Paradox has their upcoming game, which has already went through a series of hardships and may not even ever come out. We've seen a couple of board games come out into Kickstarter. And I've even backed one of said board games. I backed the big one that had like minis and stuff. Not the smaller one that was like... Anyway, the point is, I was happy to receive these on the Humble Bundle, and I was looking forward to playing them, but the same token, I thought to myself, will this be good? Or will this be a throwaway? Now, from what I can remember, this game has sort of got a bit of a... shall we say... It's got a bit of a visual novel, sort of multi-choice story sort of thing, so that probably means there's a lot of reading in my future. Could be wrong. I've only really just stared at these a little bit. I just know I've got two of these games, despite that coming out in 2019 and 2020, so they're pretty damn quickly released. That being said, the graphics are on point. That is very Vampire the Masquerade-y. And like, there's not many things from Vampire I haven't loved. You know? Like, I really did love... I even watched the YouTube channel that was doing that Vampire the Masquerade roleplay for a good period of time. That was a lot of fun. So, I guess there's only one way to find out, huh? Let's get started. So, typing speed standard, text size small. So yes, this is a what's his face? A visual novel. Resolution settings, at least it's got full resolution settings, which is nice. Dynamic background, sounds interesting. We've got volume controls and, well, controls in general. So, nothing we can change though. So let's just start a new game and see what happens. Ooh, we got a few choices here. We can be a Rouger. We can be a Ventru, or we can be a Toreador. I mean, I'm clearly going to choose the Toreador in the end, but let's have a look what the other options are. Maybe Ventru will push me over. Although, is that Ventru, or is that Ventru Antibi? I don't know. I don't think so. They wouldn't let us play the Sabat, would they? Anyway, Bruja. The rabble rebel against power and rage against authority. Should be said, I do like the Bruja too, and next time I played through, I actually preferred the Bruja. So, you know, a seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join their ranks tonight. Okay, so some sort of a revolutionary is going to join them? That sounds fun. Actually, that does sound actually pretty fun. I do like revolutionary. Ventru? The aristocratic blue bloods embody wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. Okay, so I'm literally choosing based on who I want to join. So it's either going to be a rebel against power and rage against authority, a top-level corporate executive, or a Toreador. The divas seek thrills of art, romance, and cruelty amidst their stagnant undeath. A tormented artist will join their ranks tonight. I know I said I was going to go for the Toreador. That Bruja, he's calling my name. Just for the record, I do not like corporate. I do not like capitalism. If I was to choose the Ventru, it would be purely because... I mean, she's pretty hot, isn't she? Like, I know vampires are meant to be hot, but... look at that short hair. She's pretty cute. Anyway, I mean, they're all obviously conventionally attractive in their own ways anyway, so let's just go for Brucia. My name shall be Eric. I'll keep with Eric. That gives me some Phantom of the Opera vibes. So yeah. New York taught me to believe in fate. Oh, I hope that's the main character. Had you asked me about fate back when I was human, I would have told you it was just superstitious bullshit. That we're all designers of our own destiny. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. Yes, that's interesting. That's interesting. Is this me? Probably not. It could be this person here. It could be me. But like, why would I be with the richest people? I didn't choose the corporate individual. Also, can I just point out, as far as visual novels go, look at this. You've got the awesome hand-painted background. You've got the weather effects, and you've got effects on the glass in front. And then you've got this guy in live 2D, just eerily standing in the front. You might be like, okay, so why aren't you afraid of this, but you're afraid of most horror games? Well, honestly, vampire games in general, like, I am afraid of some things, like the Ocean Hotel level in Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines. But in general, kind of the point of Vampire is, there are monsters, but you're a monster. It's hard to be a good person in the world of Vampire, and you can definitely do your best. And technically, the if you don't know, the Sabbat and the Camarilla are the two basic sides. Well, the Camarilla are quote unquote the good guys, but they're so full of politicking and backstabbing as well. The only good point about the Camarilla is technically the fact that they're keeping everyone safe through the masquerade. But people would argue that that's not really safety. It's taking away freedom for the sake of a little security. Whereas the Sabbat just do what they want, which is that really evil? I mean, some of their actions definitely are. But so are a lot of actions in this game. So there's a lot of shades of grey here and not many shades of white. So let's just go in and see what we've got. But it's not scary currently. It happened in the very same place you're standing right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. Okay, so it's not me. This is the businessman who's going to do it to me. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was a hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, connections, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye. The one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that it would fit me much better. She was a 9th generation kindred, like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. So, if you don't know anything about the Masquerade universe, it's very much based in the roots of religion, in that vampirism is the curse given by God in this universe to Cain. And it is him who was the first vampire, and he spread it to other vampires. And the idea was that as it passes on, each generation is markedly weaker than the last. So basically, the further down you get from Cain, the weaker the blood is getting. Now, when it comes to this sort of blood stuff, generally the idea is if you're higher up on the food chain, you're more powerful. The thing is, currently there are a bunch of vampires that aren't strong enough, that have very weak blood. To the point where some of them can even go outside and do their best Twilight cosplay. But, as in, be out at daytime. But here's the thing. This is terrifying to the vampire world. And currently the vampire world in our modern era, while it is very good at remaining secret, it is falling apart. Factions are splitting. Things are going really bad. And people are wondering, is this the end times? So it'd be very interesting to see where this game goes with that universe. And it's such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth braggart and see them for what they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? So generally what happens is different vampires have different desires as to who they're going to turn into a vampire. Okay? So traditionally, the Toreador will go for people who they appreciate the same art they do. They go for beautiful people. But they're not the only ones who try and go for these beautiful, vain individuals. There's also another group called the Nosferatu, who are the hideous, like, classic monster vampires. And basically they are just... they're not beautiful at all. They will also go for beautiful people because they know their curse will, like, disfigure them. The Ventru, they sire for power. And there's a bunch of other ones which will do it just to, like, really for artistic and very strange reasons. So it's a really interesting thing to look through. So the question is, why was I sired? Because I was sired by a Bruja. It sounds like I might have been sired before this scene takes place, though, because I feel like we're unrelated. So it'll be interesting to see. Because he says, I'm a 9th generation, like you. But if he was my sire, I would be a 10th generation. So, you know. Sorry, I haven't started timing yet, so. Well, my sire's lesson was about fate. A message saying, you're eternally doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. So see, this sovereign saw this sire saw this guy as someone who could actually change things. And someone who actually believed he could change things in one way or another, whether it was for his own means or for the means of others. And she decided to basically cut him down and force him to see the truth, which is kind of a scary message. What saved me was my ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and one can shape it if given the right tools. Okay. So he didn't actually give up on his hope. He just used his powers. The question is, what is he? Like, one would imagine because I chose Bruja, maybe he's a Bruja too. But he's really feeling to me like a Camarilla, like a Ventru, you know? My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me just her amusing subject. Well, she's dead and dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I learned about your arrival at JK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today is the day that my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it's so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? You're never so eager to inform me when you're here. I understand you still have a meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide some comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so I'm not a new vampire. A lot of these Vampire the Masquerade stories start with one person being a brand new vampire and sort of like getting to know the world. So I think this game might assume I know more about the vampire world than a lot of people in this position would. Which is good for me, but not necessarily good for people who haven't played vampire games before. Now, the interesting thing is, I must be relatively famous, or well known. This guy in absolute power seems to know a lot about me and was able to intercept me with his goons. And whatever the meeting is happening late tonight, that's an interesting one too. But it's precisely why I value that. I'm going to ask you to replay a favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished, but this is New York. I don't know about other cities, but this one fate really exists, and right now it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. Alright, I'm going to start the timer because clearly the introduction is over. The music is pounding and your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of those nights that makes you feel alive, even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, the realization that you have no one to talk to about how much it sucked. Still, you decide to roll the punches. One Facebook search for local events later and you found just the thing for your malaise. A short subway ride, you find yourself at the club, just outside Dumbo. Not a fancy one, mind you. More like a slightly refurbished warehouse, but hey, at least the drinks are cheap. The DJ seems to really know his shit, too. Alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno and classic Detroit cloud breezes. Expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then too. Usually you'd feel awkward coming to a place like this alone, but tonight you feel something soothing in joining the crowd. Blending in, even as you allow the beat to take over. Sweat, yours, other people, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. A thought pops into your head from the outside. The fully packed club must seem like a stuffy, smelly nightmare, but here, in the thick of it, it becomes exhilarating. And you're not even on the pill tonight. There's this Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress clinging to her body, and she keeps bumping into you, something telling you it seems only incidental. Yeah, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever, because you know all too well what the next day holds. Waking up, getting dressed for work, the commute, the 9 to 5 grind to make you enough money to pay the rent, and keep living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. Okay, so, never mind, we are starting as a new vampire. That is not what a vampire's life is like. So, that was obviously the main bad guys talking. Interesting. So where are we going with this? Also, once again, I am very impressed with the way they're doing this. Like, they've got the 2D drawn background, and that's very simply just 2D. Like, there's no movement on the background. But then, very clever use of effects, such as this fog at the top, smoke machine at the top, the light which slowly just pans over and hits the camera now and then, and all the slight motions of shadows of people in the distance. This is a really cleverly made game. And with Jessica moving out, it'll be coming out of your pocket. You run some quick calculations in your head and immediately come to regret what you did. Never mind, you spot Latina again. She's now next to another guy, hitting it off. Your chance of not going to bed alone, gone, just like that. Fuck. Your mood temporarily shut down. You leave the dance floor and stumble your way into the filthy bathroom. You take a look in the mirror and start to watch your face, obsessively. Over and over again. I also wonder, is the guy who he was talking to, is that my sire? Am I going to be a 10th generation? Which would make sense, because that's usually what they usually give us. A voice in the past echoes in your mind. Ooh, cute. In a scary sort of way. I never felt like this with anyone. Seriously, I mean it. I feel like all my relationships at this point were just test runs. A shitty way to compensate for my low self-esteem. But this feels right. Finally. Shut up, Jess. This was the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need a smoke. Pass me a light. What do you mean cops took the lighter? There's one in your mouth. Just shut the hell up. This is not you. Not anymore. No, fuck off. This is so like you. Acting like some sort of Clint Eastwood wannabe when I really, really need you to open up. You think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you. I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. This is escalating quickly, isn't it? Yeah, now that sounds like Jessica today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. You try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. And also, very common for vampires to take people when they're in particularly dark places in this sort of universe. And there she is, the Latina from before, who's clearly a vampire! Ah, hello there. She says you look like you need a drink. You hesitate for a second or two, then blurt out a surprisingly enthusiastic, yeah. You start to talk. It quickly becomes evident she's into politics, and you're eager to please. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory, actual theory, not bastardized Twitter cliff notes, and organizing all manner of causes online. The status quo sucks, and it must be something better. She agrees. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories, have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, And even watch some of the same YouTube channels. And probably people like Seanhead or something. Your goals are aligned. It's like young Turks, whatever else. Fair enough. She's a bit more radical than you'd have guessed. Oh dear, Hassan? No. You attended a few rallies, been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked in more than a couple of cops in the nuts in the course of her activist career. She sounds pretty damn awesome to me. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into the pent-up anger that you didn't know you had. The noisy club stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. As you're leaving, the DJ starts playing All the Things She Said by Tattoo. Of course, you chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. Yeah, so this makes sense. Bruges are very politically motivated, they're very... This is exactly what a Bruges is like. Like, they're like totally fight the power sort of things. So it makes sense that we would bond on this, and she is definitely going to be my sire. So that's good. I like her. She's a good girl. She's a good lady, and I think she'll be a good sire. It's chilly outside, but soon enough, you find yourself too invested in listening to a girl's voice to care about anything else. So vampires in this universe are very entrancing, and they can use magical levels of persuasion on you. Not every caste or not every bloodline can do that, but many can. And clearly that's what's happening to me right now. Not that she needs to. I think my guy was pretty much primed for this already, so, you know, it feels as close to a consentful siring as I've ever heard in this universe. So, that's good, right? You realize you've been holding hands for a while. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple, and a drunk staring intently at his own feet. Plenty of room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. You can hear her thigh pushing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's booze talking, but you distinctly hear a voice asking if she could crash at your place. If she'd like to crash at your place. I've got a better idea, she says. At this point, you're down for anything, as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. Or years. Or centuries. Though it is funny. They love to make a big point here in this universe. That, yeah, you can live for hundreds of years. Like there are vampires still alive from, like, the Napoleonic Wars, right? And they're still around today. But the way of Bloodline's modern setting is that essentially these are considered the last nights. It's like you're being given the secret to immortality moments before the planet you live on is about to explode. So it's really a very tense time. So, She takes you into a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding tied guy at the front desk. He hands her a key. Still holding her hand, the woman leads you up the stairs. Now, it being said, there are two things she could do at this point. She could either sire and turn me, which is what she's probably going to do. Or she could turn me into a ghoul by feeding me a drop of her blood. I'm sure I'm going to go down the vampire route though, so let's keep going. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with faking paint and sticky floor. Not that it matters though. The moment you step through the door, she's on you. You try and take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel a rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and not once does she lose the initiative. Your hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange, it didn't look like she was cold outside, but her skin feels eerily cold. As if sensing your confusion, she slaps your hand off her. She kisses you on the neck, and you're overwhelmed by the sensation of darkness. So once again, you might be like, well, why aren't I afraid of this? Because I knew what was going to happen. Siring is not exactly a safe process. The siring process involves a vampire taking all of your blood, down to the very last drop. For that moment, you are dead. And for all intents and purposes, your life is over. But it is after this draining, a single drop of blood is placed in your mouth. And what would usually cause a drug-like euphoria instead will slowly start to grow and fizzle and just expand within you until you become her. the same family, the same bloodline, but slightly weaker. You become a vampire. At that point, you are now beholden to the masquerade. You are beholden to these rules of this universe. Your past is dead to you, and that's another reason why this character is particularly perfect. He's just lost his partner. He was alone. She knew it. This is the perfect target for a vampire. Someone that no one is going to miss. The taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Her voice said, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave the city in one piece. But don't worry. With my blood and your principles, you're going to do just fine." Okay. So, basically, it says, "I did what I had to do to leave the city in one piece. But don't worry, my blood and your principles are going to do just fine." So, basically, she's escaping. Though I'm not sure. I guess all the blood I gave her the power to get out. But she's now sired me. And she wanted to... I reckon that's why she was rubbing up against multiple people at the bar. She wanted to know who would actually keep the Bruges principles alive well. So that makes sense. She slams the hotel room behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on the soiled, pungent mattress for some time. Minutes? Hours? Or you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening. It hits you. The big hunger. It grips you by the throat and makes your insides shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. Now, what's happened here is he is left alone. He has no idea what he is, what is happening. This is the sort of event that can cause people to go into a blood rage, into a furious search for blood. It is dangerous. It might involve killing your first person. Now, vampires don't need to kill to eat. They can just suck to a point and then stop. But this particular stage is incredibly dangerous. So what happens in the next few minutes will be very interesting to know. You crawl for a while, squirm on the floor in shuddering pain, then jump to your feet and burst out the door. You black out. Yep, he's going crazy. This isn't the room you last saw when you closed your eyes. Somebody curses you. A small, naked, buff dude holding a short weather lip. Wow, what a goofy motherfucker. He throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. You black out again. Guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. There's blood on his arms. There's blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow, whoever did this is one sick puppy. It was you. You just ate him dry. But it sounds like he's been an arsehole, so... I guess it's what she meant by your principles will do you well. Because if the principles didn't do him well, he would have killed someone bad. Good, sorry. Now, the big question as well is, how would this intro have differed if I had chosen the other clans? Does each clan have a different sire, or does it just change the sire, what the sire is, based on what I choose? You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. Someone else is there, a woman. Her arms tied to the bed frame, an eye mask over her face, red marks on her back. This time you see it happen. You want to stop, but you can't. She almost managed to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite the side of her neck and you drink. Blood. You're drinking blood. You'd swear you feel her life flow escaping your body, entering yours. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from her. She's not moving, but she's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. The guy on the floor, though? You double over the spasm, rather than what you did. You feel like throwing up, but can only gag. Okay, good. So, he drank enough of the first guy. He drank enough of the first guy that he was able to get enough of his emotions back that he was able to stop himself from killing the second girl, which is good. However, this is still a very dangerous position. So, panic sets in. Another realization dawns on you. Your heart is not beating. You put 2 fingers to your wrists. You feel no pulse. Same thing on neck. Nothing. There is no breathing coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get to someone to call an ambulance. Go for yourself at least. It's probably too late for dude on the floor. Did you really kill him? What a mess. You look up. The door to the room is ajar. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the entire frame. He brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. The question is, was this guy sent here for me? Or is he just a Camarilla cleanup crew who just got word of a new vampire? Hey man, this is not what it looks like. That's good to see. Here, because where I'm standing, it looks like you're in for a world of trouble. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he's standing. He shakes his head in mock concern. Murder? Assault? That's 25 for life if you're lucky. But since you're not, it's a death sentence. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night. Otherwise, I may not have gotten here in time. Come on. The sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around here when it does. What's it matter if the sun comes up? Ah, so you didn't even know. You should be glad I got here before you made yourself scarce. The man approaches you, starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. That sounds like another vampire pal, just saying. Now listen, I know this is new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you. And going by experience, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there are smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't need to pull off anything stupid. I always get them where they need to be safe and sound. And then there are the dumb ones. The punks who thought they could take me on. The wise guys who tried to contact someone, secretly without permission. The troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given the speech before, likely a dozen times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. It's my one true weakness. One that's inspired me to come up with a free strike system when dealing with pups like you. If you get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But you cost me 3 times, you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. So yeah, he wasn't sent here for me. He is literally a Camarilla goon, essentially. He's a Camarilla policeman, essentially. He's going around and trying to clean up messes that risk the masquerade. So whenever there's a scream in the night, or someone hears something, or sees something, he'll be there to make sure that there's nothing there when the police get there in the morning. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, and a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. You realize it's a test. He's hearing you do something about it. 3 strikes and you're out. Say, I understand, sir, now. You've never been too eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this is something different. The man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. I understand, sir. I'm glad we have an understanding. Now, it should be said, he's clearly not Sabat. He's clearly Camarilla. He is likely someone I can trust at this point, as much as you can trust anyone in this universe. You don't generally have many friends in the vampire universe. Most people are out only for themselves. In the case of this guy, he's out to try and protect the masquerade. Moving on. Is there anyone you want to inform about your current situation? Tell him you're alright. He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason the silence sends a chill down your spine. There's something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you? Jessica, my ex-girlfriend. She sort of hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. Stranger gives you a puzzled look inside Spot further. Well, at least I'm accepting it. You know, at least I'm accepting it's over. I said ex, not actual girlfriend. I didn't make anything up. The closest person in your life hates your guts. This time, something resembling a look of pity. He turns his eyes to a corpse on the floor. That's why I'm the perfect person to turn, and that's why I'll make the perfect vampire. Huh. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin a day, let me know if you're alright. Give me your phone number. I'll have someone call and take care of it. Discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so he can copy down the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. He's about to wipe or destroy my phone. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you're subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under. You'll be watched by many eyes to ensure that the laws are respected. You're forbidden from letting anyone else know you're alive. You're forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and for them. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I'd suggest you cooperate. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. Once again, he's just being the police officer in this situation, so fair enough. His words are meant to imply otherwise. Now it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight and you're almost willing to advise. Not that he hates you, it's that you're just a job to him. He has no care or worry about you. And honestly, you don't either, because you are also a heartless vampire at this point. Alright, I think I'm lecturing for today. We're on a bit of a schedule here. Now, I don't need to hurt you, but I can't do so in a blink of an eye. Just so we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. It's not an idle threat. So, are you going to play along, or do we have to do it the hard way? I mean, really, there's nothing else I could do. Both of those other options would have led me to being killed. You made your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, it looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. And wise decision. Follow me, please. And close the door behind you. You take one final look at the woman, who's just coming to, and the body at the ground. This is fucked! Absolutely fucked! You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. You contemplate signaling the bald guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on the small, ancient-looking TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear Detective Jean-Claude Van Damme say, I just want to go home, as you're walking by. Your would-be kidnapper stops by the door and dresses you properly before opening it. Look, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking as soon as he opens the door, make him run for it. Maybe I can run him. I'll save you trouble. You can't. You can get him inside my car, and I'll get you to where you need to be. You can do something stupid and you'll regret it later. Do I let yourself clear? Why don't you just turn me in? Because no one will benefit for that. And besides, I have my orders. He opens the door and gestures into the black Cadillac Escalade, parked right outside the building. Once again, beautiful work here. You've got some flies in the background. I thought this was some weird tentacle in the back there. It could have been someone's arm waving the bus, but it disappeared. Yeah, this is really cool. After you. Once again, I don't think there's any other options I could do here that wouldn't end in my death. Following the stranger's instructions, you make your way to the car, get in the back seat. The door locks behind you. Inside the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets into the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. This is the afterlife, isn't it? You're not entirely wrong, but it's not what you think. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about your state you're in or my role in tonight's events. Just remember, if you want to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. And this is bullshit. Why does everything have to be a fucking riddle? Well, riddle me this. Who's gonna get their teeth smashed into their brain if he doesn't shut up? Understand this is your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. It's true, actually. Eventually, car stops and doors open. You emerge from your dreamlike state to find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. Now, I'm going to just increase the time by another half an hour. I think an hour makes more sense for this video. Because it's slow, but it's a visual novel. And hey, I might actually want to play this one through like I did California. The man points to a nearby door. Go in. Make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow and you'll get your answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed. A single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling of an AC unit on the wall. Guess I've got no choice to trust you. Took you this long to figure it out. No, actually, I've been doing pretty well at following your orders, but sure. Remember when I said you were lucky? I mean it. See, my job is to get rid of problems. I'm not always this polite about it. This time, I was specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned off, being stuck here in for a night is a really good deal. Now get in or I'll throw you in. Oh, lovely room. I kind of wish they chose a different light color though. Good night. Aww. He goes inside behind you. It looks sturdy, but as he's locking, you notice claw marks all over it. Looks like some of the previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. So this is clearly where they put people until they're acclimatized to the vampire world. Sign up to the brown attractive fridge. There's a single plastic bag in there filled with red liquid. No label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best leave it for now. No, it's blood, but surprisingly not very much. So they must expect you to need very much to survive overnight. I guess after you've had your first feed, it should last for a while. Lie down in the bed. It's a simple mattress on metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the ones back at the hotel with the bound woman. Oh right, you killed a man tonight, didn't you? Or did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe this is all an elaborate prank. See, the whole killing someone thing, while it's technically not required for a siren, it's technically not required for a vampire, many of these stories do start with someone accidentally killing someone, because it's a really good way of setting the scene. That while you still have your humanity, stopping you, making you think, what have I done? It's not enough. You are a monster now. And that is all there is to it. You go to the club, Jess. Who might put her up to it. The tall guy's clearly not too. Now he's back with him. They're laughing their asses off. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep going. Finally tense up one last time before drifting away into oblivion. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels. The room is unchanged. Lamp is still on. The AC is still rattling. The refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You slept for 17 hours straight. Because now you're a vampire. If you woke up in the middle of the day, you'd be fucked. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone. You feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about it. But you're certain about one thing. You're hungry. And it's not your stomach rumbling, though. Now, it should also say that he has got his memories still. So he is still the same person. He's just now a vampire. That's why I like this form of vampirism. Even though it kills you, you're still technically you. It's not like you lose your memories or lose who you are. I mean, you do over time just because the life is so much more exciting and different than what you would have left. But still, this is basically just the... this is really interesting. This entire section is just like an introduction to the world of vampirism. There's been nothing done towards the story at this point. We don't know anything about what's causing it. We just know about the mysterious person who is telling someone else that they have to do something. We know about our Borussia, who sired us, and we know about the strange cop who came to quote-unquote save us. Open the fridge. The bag is still there. You take a close look at it. If it is soup, then its color and texture is off. You pull the cork out, take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit, there's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. It smells faint. You remember some situations in the past when you almost found it nauseating, but now? No, not almost. And now it's almost... No, not almost. It is enticing. It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of liquid into your mouth. It tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough to flavor the register what claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick in a weird, messed up way. You can't help but feel like it feels nourishing. You take a few more sips. Just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually you found like you've emptied it entirely. You look into the info pressed into the side of the bag. 450 mils of it. Even with its blandness, you feel like you still feel like having more. You realize your body belongs to the intoxicating high you first felt when an image of the corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try and piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all, when you hear the locked door click. You see a door open. Standing near is a well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look, like a hawk on a hunt. But somehow more relaxed tonight. So like a tame talk, maybe. Good evening. Slept well? He noticed this guy had an empty bag. See, he had a bit of a snack. I did. Got any more? No, and don't expect any substance to be easy to find this time. Come on, we got places to be. The car is humming in the empty parking lot just outside the door. A cramped room he spent there in. The man motions to it, politely, but with a stern look on his face. I'm trusting you here, man. I'm touched, sincerely. I feel like if I was playing the Camarilla guy, I'd want to at least try and be a bit of an asshole. But no, here I'll follow him along for now. You take the back seat again. The door's locked. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets and landmarks through the blackened window, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything, seems to stay focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door's locked alright. A piece of dark glass separating you from the front of the car. It looks sturdy too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You don't have time to think about it before, but you realise now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling of the stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You try to accept some information from the man behind the wheel, but you realise you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spend the rest of your trip lost in thoughts. A lot of them concerned for blood. Next, you have 20 minutes or so to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe. After me. No sudden movements, please. You approach a nice-looking building that houses a two-story gallery called the Art Hall. Two large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and give you your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by a stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour, to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of riders navigate the gathering, serving drinks, all of them beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they're gathered here for. Nobody seems particularly interested in the art pieces on the wall, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces, animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. The last time you felt this way was your previous job interview. It's like being a piece of livestock, inspected from all sides for any imperfection. So your wage could be haggled down. It was dehumanizing. It made you feel dirty. When they called you the next day to offer you a job, you declined. Even if you were a nobody, you became even less if you trade away your dignity for a paycheck. The memory makes you feel warmer inside even now, although the state of your bank account never did. Good evening, Godard. And you, to you, Childer. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head, and back to the situation at hand. The gallery, the cloud of strangers. You being brought here against your will. For what purpose? She's going to inform you that you're part of you're a vampire and you need to follow the masquerade. The room waits your response. Good evening, miss? Ah, yes, the prince. You're addressing the Prince of New York. Helen Panchan, child of Mikola. Thank you, Sheriff, but I'm capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain-looking, doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people, that much is clear. So the Camarilla is a very political society, and traditionally there are princes of different areas of towns in very different places. So what would have happened is I was side within her territory. So that means that I am her responsibility currently. So essentially I answer to her until I join something else or someone else. So it's very interesting. I'm wondering, like, she seems to be relatively merciful if she told him not to kill me. Because there's a lot of vampires who just see that unsanctioned siring as a crime that's punishable by death. However, we don't know if this was unsanctioned. She could have literally traded her life for mine. She did say that she wanted to escape. Maybe the deal was that she needed a new vampire, a new second in command. And maybe in return, she was able to go free and go somewhere else, escape. Or maybe. I guess we'll find out. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate that I punish you both for this transgression. Well, that answers my question. She did not receive permission for this. A murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I'm willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. So it's best to stay silent, listen to the whole situation unfold. It feels like you're out of your depth here. Shall we begin? You're about to be judged by the court of New York City, Godard. Please, tell us how you found this fledgling, and what happened on your way out. A court? Prince? Is this some sort of secret society make-believe? A trusted informant, who has chosen to remain anonymous at this time, tipped me off of a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. The hunger made him savage, a prostitute and his client, in a Bronx brothel, belonging to one ministry. I've already spoken to the Sanctuary after this, and made sure it will blow over. Regarding the fledgling himself, surprisingly enough, he offered little resistance last night, and cooperated on the way to the safe house. I was pleased not to use force in his compliance. We had a quick chat. But wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. Again, a pleasant departure from my usual routine. His first partially slacked with the bagged blood we kept in the safe house. We had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take special interest of one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with almost curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering in some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Coteries. I take this fledgling's behavior into consideration later. First, there is the matter of your sire. The person who brought you where Coteries picked you up from last night. Who were they? A Latina woman, very radical. Unless she convincingly lied to me, she was special, extraordinary. She had fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me easily, in fact. Made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. Feels awkward talking to a room of strangers about what seemed like one random night stand at one time. Not to mention, even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, her face is already fading from your mind. You realize she never even told you her name. Oh, Coteries, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. At least not familiar enough. I'll continue the search when we're done here. The chick she ran the room from at the motel talked to the receptionist? She might know something about her. Unlikely, but regardless, thank you for the observation. I'll investigate this later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? Traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thy and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duty. Stay your hand for just one moment longer, Coteries. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone's in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom. A handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask this Coteries what the talk of traditions in the councils was when a red-headed woman approached the two of you. Sophie. Sheriff? I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Coteries. We all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You may not have to change your hands tonight at all. Her words grab his attention. His face, it's hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for domination. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way he came. And you're left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside. The eyes of remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you're in quite the pickle. What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime is here. Poor thing, it really isn't your fault. But if you want to get out of here in one piece, you need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's kind of the reason why we have nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains. The beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests still occasionally look at you, commenting on your hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale, really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. It's not the right thickness. It's not the right colour either. Try to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it. Your breathing has not returned, and your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices echo in your head and start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly starts to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to the conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice is saying, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Coteries deliberately keeping you in the dark after all. If we do nothing, we will be cut down as sure as day follows night. But I need to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I'll take you under my wing, and if you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight. And your deference to Coteries will work in your favor. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I'll take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I'll make sure you face the consequences. Suppose I say yes, what happens then? You survive, hopefully, or not, depending on the prince's whim. I'm giving you a chance, not a guarantee. But if you take me on as your patron, I will be your guide in this new reality. And if you assist me like a child I would sire. Now the question is she Camarilla? She's obviously Camarilla. Is she Ventru or is she Toreador? What is she? She steps hushed voice and heads inside the room. Seems that the prince and the consul are returning to the showroom. Cordelia appears from downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will be intervene. Remember my condition. She rises a heart-melting smile towards Cordelia, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard, fastened with a colourful sash around his waist. It looked vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't for the surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Cordelia takes his place next to you, and says Prince takes center stage once again. Loyal kindred of New York, City Camarilla gathered here tonight. I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses to you. I want you to know this is not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything to earn our ire, and I do feel general sorrow for what needs to be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent within our very existence. It is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my counsel's divergent opinions on this, she takes a look at specifically the one who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin is somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while the embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence is the progeny that must be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently. Cordelia? 2 outs, bottom of the knife. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody you. His eyes meet yours. You notice a hint of sadness in his countenance. When it quickly vanishes, give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. You don't get another chance to speak up. You make your choice. I'm not going down like this, damn it. Spare me! Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer. Sorry. Wrong voice. Prince, if I may ask... Oh, shut up, lost already. If I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer? Cordelia looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is something you'd like to say, Miss Langley? Yes, if I may. At first the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet, measuring the mood of the room. The bored elite suddenly start looking at you with aroused interest, some dismayed at not seeing bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Odia's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't be able to take advantage of the distraction. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe the proper context should be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance they become an asset to our domain. Am I to understand you are volunteering to take the silent child into your protection? Yes, I happen to think they might hold some potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. Whispers be heard again, an incredulous voice or two. A hushed, just behead the fucker! Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence. I ask you all to make a note of this for a moment. I might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favour, but another one will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that that is your responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I am willing to guide this fledgling, and add a valuable ally to our sect in a time of need, yes. But I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if it pleases you. It's clear the tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death, or second death apparently, and keeping silent. So it's best to let Sophie handle this alone, not interject. You have no idea how to handle this eyes wide shut crowd. The prince looks at you, weighing in your wealth. Then she takes another good look at the measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant your wish what you wish. Let it be known, Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose, so she's Toreador, will become this fledgling's patron. They shall be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them and grant her the right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be for the beneficial to the Camarilla. Substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, Childer? Shouldn't I use nickname? Do you use actual names? My old life's over. Shouldn't I have, a vampire nickname? It depends on the choices made by the individual kindred. But for now, I do need a name I can use in an official manner. It's Eric, then. She nods. Welcome to Camarilla, Eric. Now, this evening proved to be even more eventful than I anticipated, but with the fledgling fate decided, I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing at such short notice. Give me my regards to those who couldn't make it. Cordelia, in a moment of your time before I shall return to your duties? Of course, Prince. Issues your side glance doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged, and if need be, you will be punished. The two of them take their leave in the gallery. Well, Eric, I think we can both say we've already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. But let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a new fruitful partnership. She raises her hand at one of the well-dressed concierge who now have reappeared from the showroom to refill the guest glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches you with a carafe of red liquid. He pours into 2 tall glasses. It's blood again. This much is clear. You're in 2 minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger wakes you in a winch. You take a tentative sip. You accepted the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago, but this one's you can actually savor. It's smoky and warm, making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood, but it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think New York City caterers have the very bourgeois. I know that word, but I've never actually ideas about what good blood should taste like. Apologies. You have many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. I feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? The sad reality is it will never go away. No matter how much you drink, you'll always be tempted to have more. Unless you consume someone wholly to the last drop. Paying for a temporary relief for their life. But that's a one-way road to losing your humanity. Best just start with a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Be hot. Fresh blood will be more satiating than most anything they serve in a fancy glass. But it can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, depends. If you're frugal, you can decide many nights without a single drink. But it's risky, and you'll tempt the beast. That's part of our curse. Tomorrow should take you hunting, and we'll explore this topic further. The blood you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. The beast you mentioned, is it a metaphor, or... Oh, it's quite real. It's what you experienced before. Not in a strictly physical sense. It lives in all of us. Our nature and hunger manifests. The more religious among us connected to the biblical Cain, the rage of the first murderer, cursed by God, seething in all its sentence. I, however, am a child of enlightenment. Not that makes my struggles any easier. I have to be wary of, like anyone else, any other kindred in the city and beyond. Individual kindred can have unique relationships to that beast. What yours is going to be remains to be seen. But you do need to keep it under control. Each outburst endangers not only you, but the masquerade. The concierge returns, asking permission to intrude. Sophie gives a polite smile and leans in to whisper in her ear. You notice that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told the gallery is about to close, but we still have a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts on you makes you remember the night you felt with the Latina. It's not arousing, though. More like magnetic. You find it hard to argue. Even though you're still suspicious of her authority over her, her charm momentarily wins you over. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. A chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy starts driving immediately. Now, it should be said, this guy is almost certainly human. More accurately, a ghoul. If you see a human in this universe, they're almost certainly a ghoul. Basically, if you feed a drop of blood to a human, they become essentially your slave. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually worse, I suppose, in some ways. But they do get something out of it. The ghouls will live a longer life. They will gain some of the vampire's powers, but they'll still be able to go outside and live a normal life. The problem is that the blood acts as a drug to them, and they need to serve their vampire. They're also still bound by the masquerade, so if they do anything to break it, their life is forfeit anyway. So, yes. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. Our prince returned our traditions. Chief among them is the masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing town, my comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts, so as to the vast majority of the kind, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about the vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a bit more dejected than before. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe. Allow me to explain away the occasional trip-up to our rational minds of the 21st century humanity, and dictate much of our interactions with mortals. So if it's secret, I guess your driver is a vampire too? Oh dear, Gregory? No, not a vampire. Although he is a loyal servant, and such trusted not to spill our secrets left and right. You will realize with time that such help is welcome. Gregory watches over me during the day hours. Sun burns our kind, that's why we take our rest when it rises. It's more akin to being dead than asleep, as I'm sure you've already experienced. But not everything you've heard about vampires is true. Some of the more folk-related threats are just legends, or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water. Even religious symbols don't repel us unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Stakes for the heart, though, that's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze. Well, that's just another reason to have someone trusty like old Gregory making sure you're safe while you drift away. We have many enemies, and now they take advantage. They know their advantage lies with daylight. Am I right in thinking having a human friend or two is necessary then, or at least useful? In moderation. It's best they don't know your true nature. Also, I would say that our subordinates are useful, but friends? I haven't had many of those for years now. Our little sect supplies social interactions aplenty, but it doesn't really encourage friendships. Alliances of convenience to be broken to whim. Yes, that's more like it. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Camarilla, but we're a very politicized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. Friends must remain a distinct priority for best for us to maintain the masquerade and thrive as the years pass. With our age comes authority, but with it comes influence and power, if you wish to reach for them. I stopped here and sitting in front of an well-renovated apartment. We're here. Like to see your lodgings? My own apartment? Get my own apartment? That's neat. Consider it the first of many gifts I'm able to grant in exchange for your loyalty. Come upstairs. She leads you through a small hall with night guard who greets Miss Langley with good evening. As you take the stairs up to the second floor, Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all the amenities you expect from one apartment. Some you wouldn't have deemed necessary, just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The black room is more comfortable looking bed and thick steel door, with several sturdy looking locks, but no windows. Well, do you like it? This is great, thanks. I'm glad you like it. Make yourself at home. Tomorrow I'll take you hunting and discuss the blood in more detail. So I'm being nice to this lady, because even though, once again, you don't want to trust a vampire, so far, I am more valuable to her as a loyal subject. So remaining loyal to her is likely the best call. That being said, my timer has just went off, and once this day is completed, so will this video. However, I might continue. I might upload more. I might not. I don't know. Either way, I think I'll record me playing it more on a different day so I can actually retain my voice. But, yeah, this could be interesting. So if you like what you see here, then not only pick it up in the link in the description down below, because it's not that much money, but also maybe you could, say in the comments if you want to watch a whole series like this. I don't know. Like, I don't know how long the game is. I guess we could find out. It might only be like 4 or 5 episodes, but who cares? It's fun. It's an interesting world, and it's the perfect game for it. I actually know the subject matter enough, and I love vampires. So, yeah. Well, guys, I am going to end it there. Next time, we will have our first proper night as a vampire going hunting if we decide to come back to this. But for now, thank you for joining me on my mountain of shame. And I'll see you next time in the Coteries of New York.